Gloria and Zoe were born 2 years apart. Although they were sisters, the girls grew up very different in personality and appearance. Gloria was bright and beautiful, and knowing that, she always tried to make the most of it. There were always many boys around her, and they tried to please her in everything. Gloria loved to party, dreamed of a rich husband and carefree travels. She never had love in her plans. The main thing was getting a well-to-do husband. Zoe, on the contrary, was a homely girl. She studied well, loved to draw and read. The girl graduated from school with excellent results and was going to enter nursing school. Zoe was a little overweight, didn't use makeup, and wore simple and comfortable clothes. Gloria always made fun of her sister for not having any dresses, but Zoe was not disturbed by this. For 19 years she had learned to ignore her sister's mockery and disdain. When Zoe successfully passed her exams and got admission to medical school, her parents rented her a small apartment, and Zoe went to study. One day after the lectures, Zoe went to the grocery store and did not notice how she had bought too many products. She stopped at the entrance of her apartment building to take a break. She lived on the 4th floor in a house without an elevator. Suddenly, a man behind her, in a pleasant male voice, offered to help. Zoe was surprised, as she was not used to male attention and always did everything herself. She turned around and saw a smiling young man. Zoe was confused. While he took her bags and started to walk up to the necessary floor, telling her about himself on the way. It turned out that his name was Morgan, and he lived in the same building, only on the 5th floor. He walked Zoe to the door of her apartment and said goodbye. All night long, he was on Zoe's mind. The next day, Zoe was greatly surprised when he invited her for a walk. Gradually, they started dating. At the beginning of the summer, Zoe, having come home for a while, told her mother that she had a boyfriend. Then Zoe went back to the city, where she was studying, and a week later the doorbell rang, and there was Gloria on the doorstep with a suitcase in her hands. She unceremoniously announced that she was very interested in meeting her sister's boyfriend, so she had decided to stay here for a month or 2. Zoe wasn't too happy with her guest, but she didn't dare kick her out. In the evening, Morgan arrived, and Gloria didn't even try to hide the fact that she liked him. She openly flirted with him, and Zoe was shocked by her sister's behaviour. But she believed that she shouldn't worry, since she and Morgan loved each other so much. But not even a month later, Zoe found herself in bed with Morgan. Zoe couldn't forgive such a betrayal. She packed her things and left the same day for her parents' house. Time passed, and 6 months later, Gloria and Morgan announced their wedding. The girl's parents did not come to the wedding. However, Gloria wasn't too upset. All she cared about was her own happiness. But soon, tragedy struck. Morgan got in a terrible car accident, and the doctors literally put him back together in pieces. His spine was damaged, and no one gave a guarantee that he would be able to walk. The last thing Gloria wanted was to care for a helpless man in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. So without the slightest regard, she filed for divorce from Morgan. Zoe was shocked by her sister's action and understood that Morgan would need care after his discharge from the hospital, and he had no other relatives. Gloria didn't care about her ex-husband's problems, and Zoe couldn't leave her first love in the lurch. So she went back to the city where she had fallen in love for the first time. Visiting Morgan in the hospital every day, she decided that she would get him out of this mess. Apparently, love really does work miracles. For 3 years, they both fought the accident's aftermath and overcame it. Zoe was forced to give up her studies. She used to rush to the store after work, then home to help Morgan, or to the hospital to visit him when he was in rehab. Eventually, she found a clinic that specialized in treating patients like Morgan. Her parents helped to pay the huge bill. All these years, Zoe kept thinking that Morgan would definitely recover. They would get married, have a baby, and everything would be okay. But fate laughed at her. Morgan finally recovered, but he treated Zoe like a sister or a mother. And one day, far from being a beautiful one, Morgan came home and told Zoe that he had met her sister in the city, and although he was truly grateful to Zoe for everything she had done for him, he still loved only Gloria. Only now, a shocked Zoe realized that she had fantasized about a perfect future that would never come true. Like the last time, Zoe packed her suitcase and left, only this time to the other side of the country. There she continued her education and finally qualified as a nurse. And soon, a surgeon who was working in the same hospital as Zoe became attracted to her. But the woman remembered the lesson with Morgan so well that she was afraid to let another man into her life. Fortunately, he didn't give up. Zoe's refusals only spurred him on. 3 years later, they were married, and Zoe finally understood what it was to be truly loved. As for Gloria, they never saw each other again. Zoe had strictly forbidden her parents to give her address to her. She knew that Gloria had left Morgan again, but now she didn't care, and she wasn't going to save him again.